So for those of you just tuning in, my theory that I adopted from ex-boyfriend of the pod, my ex-boyfriend, is that
our ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, collectively, he belongs to us all now. I'm CJ.
And I'm Lou. Grab your tinfoil hat and tune into Speculating Wildly, your number one source for completely accurate, opinion-based news.
We find ourselves in a very interesting position today, I feel. Wherein, I would say for the past 72 hours, no thoughts, only Tomodachi. Would you happen...
that I'm doing this under my desk? While you were calibrating, I was like, let me just check, because I haven't been on all day today.
Let it be known that for those of you who are not watching us, Lou just took out her Nintendo Switch from below the desk at which she is sitting, and she is currently logged into Tomodachi.
Yeah, well, because E.T. and Zoe wanted to move in together.
I love that I think you made every single one of your friends. You said, if I know you, yes, you will be in my game.
Yeah.
So if you had to describe this game to a Victorian boy who had time traveled, what would you say to him to describe it?
That is the perfect game. Okay, well, so I just want the crowd, the listeners, to know that I didn't come into the world of video games until quarantine. I was not allowed to have video games. And so I did Animal Crossing is what it's called for the first time during the pandemic, but it was like nice, but it didn't awaken my soul, if that makes sense.
So you would say that Tomodachi is the first game that has awoken your soul. Is that true? Is that what you're saying right now?
Yeah, I started watching people stream it on Twitch, and I was like, this is the only game I've ever cared about in my whole life.
Even more than... how much did you watch people play Pokopia? Poketopia.
Okay, I do really like Pokopia, but mainly because of the animation.
Uh-huh.
I'm not like a Pokemon guy.
Right.
But it does seem exactly like Animal Crossing with different animation. However, I prefer this animation. It's weirder. And you can be more custom.
In Tomodachi?
In both. Well, in Pokopia as well. The thing about Animal Crossing and like... embarrassing. The thing I don't like about Animal Crossing is you really have to like take a long time and work for the things that you want.
Yeah. And
Tomodachi, you're just being God.
And that is exactly what made me go, I think we could talk about this on the podcast. It really made me think of like what I say about the dinosaurs, right? So for those of you just tuning in, my theory that I adopted from ex-boyfriend of the pod, my ex-boyfriend, is that...
our ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, collectively, he belongs to us all now. Is that there is a theory that exists that God created dinosaurs because God was like, I will make big warrior guys, big fighting dudes. And then he made... Dudes. Say it again?
I was just emphasizing big fighting dudes.
Exactly. Because God was like, big is powerful, and we can all agree. Lou, in fact, show off your shirt right now.
Big and strong.
Exactly. And God agreed. God
strong
was like...
will come eventually. But anyway, big and strong.
God was on board with that message, and so God made dinosaurs, and he made them really big, and he made them really strong, and he made them fight each other, but then he forgot to make them smart enough to worship him. And so when my Tomodachi... villagers, islanders, colonists, what are they in the game?
To me, villagers.
Colonists is RimWorld, I'm sorry.
Family.
And I'll get into RimWorld later.
Boy game. Well, I have a million questions about how you're going to apply RimWorld to this situation. So.
I will answer every single one. But when in Tomodachi, like... there are these little beings, for all intents and purposes, that exist because I created them, and they're calling me God baby. Because when Lou and I talk about our faith in a God, we call it God baby. And so I was like, well, I'm God baby to these people. And then at one point I was like, oh my God, I'm God baby to these people.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it really hits you when you're sort of like, should I go fall in love with this person and you have the power to say yes or no? And
Well,
I'm like, I can't.
and there are times in Tomodachi where, like, so let me break this down for anyone who is still confused about what Tomodachi is. Tomodachi is a game for the Switch, Nintendo Switch, wherein you create villagers and an island, and then like you are ostensibly in that their god. Versus in Animal Crossing, it is not really clear like what you as the player, your relationship is to the characters. Would you say that's true?
Well, okay, Animal Crossing is weird because you're not God. Tom Nook is God, I guess, in that situation.
Because in Animal Crossing, you only play as the one villager, and in Tomodachi, you play with and affect all villagers actively. That's the difference.
Yeah,
sorry.
and in Animal Crossing, it's difficult to even like influence someone to wear a shirt you got them.
Right.
Like you just have to hope.
In Animal Crossing, you're playing in first player, and in Tomodachi, you're playing as like an omniscient being.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the biggest difference between the games, other than the animation style. Otherwise, you are doing the same exact stuff.
Yeah, well, except for more fun because you get to tell, like, okay, you get to have catchphrases. Like, my CJ ends every sentence with, right, babe?
Ah!
And stands so gay. And, she moved in with her roommate, because they bonded over idiot maxing.
Who's my roommate?
I got to choose.
Ah! A blessing.
Should I say that? Should I give her a nickname?
John Hamm. Girl, not annoying.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really fun. And because I'm creative and fun because I built sort of like E.T. and the Grinch.
Right.
And the Lake Michigan, I have a crush on. But what was I even saying? Oh, I don't know. I love this game. What was I going to say?
I know, it's really addicting, but my whole thing that made me think it is a thing that we could talk about on this podcast wherein we deliver news that we've invented in our minds, is it really had me going like, wait, what have I created by creating this world? And I've always been a lifelong life simulation game player. And what is different about Tomodachi and Animal Crossing lives in this universe as well, versus a game like The Sims, which is what got me into this world, is that like when I'm not playing The Sims, they're not doing anything. They don't feel sentient in the same way that Animal Crossing or especially Tomodachi Life characters do, because like when you log back into the game, they're on the same clock that you're on, and things have happened. I log back into the game, for example, and Lou isn't into their alien wife that much anymore.
Crazy.
Lou's like, what does it say? Last time I logged in this morning, it was like, Lou, in my game, I created Lou, duh. She was the third character I created. And then the fourth character I created was an alien wife for her. But now Lou's like not that into the alien wife, which all happened while I wasn't there. But the alien wife is still falling in love with Lou. But Lou's title for the alien wife has been like, it's all right. And I was like, that happened while I wasn't there.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's part of the addiction part for me too, because I'm like, what have you guys been up to? You've been hanging out without me?
Right.
Why would you hang out without me?
And that...
I'm gone.
Exactly! But that is the thing that makes me go like, wait. I go, you know, so there's a theory, of course, that we are all living in a simulation.
Yes.
And I even think that there is like a school of thought wherein that's like been proven, or there are reputable scientists who say that.
Yeah, I would say I'm not sure about proven, but it's like it's sort of at this point, what's proven? No offense.
You know,
prove it. It holds no meaning to me anymore.
Yeah. So true.
But I think that I believed, well, I can't remember. I can't remember what I believed before believing that we're in a simulation, but during quarantine and doing psychedelics in quarantine and then learning that most scientists think that a simulation is like the most possible situation.
Yeah. That like
really
statistically, right, they say, I heard this thing one time, and again, you know you're coming here for hot takes that are poorly researched. So, I heard this thing one time wherein someone told me that there was a scientist. Again, that scientist could be like Captain Crunch. Like, I don't know who this scientist was.
Famous scientist.
Captain Crunch. But a scientist had said that it is statistically likely that we have lived through the end of the world and are living in a simulation more than anything else. That like the way technology is now, especially with AI, it makes more sense that has gone so far as to create the simulation in which we are living now versus that like we're waiting for the world to end. And then this morning, as I'm awake and cozy in bed and doom scrolling, I saw this video that really made me be like, oh my God. And it was like this woman, again, she could be like someone's weird crackhead aunt for all I know. She was just like,
of course,
a lady in my phone where I went, she's got a really good point. Where she said, sometimes
they do. Sometimes the ladies in the phone do, is all I was going to say.
And thank you. And exactly. Because this lady in my phone was like, in the next few years, the biggest Mandela effect is going to be people remembering the nuclear fallout that ended the timeline that they're in. And she was like, but there are infinite timelines. So no one has to worry because you'll just wake up in a different timeline ostensibly. But the difference will be that you remember the nuclear fallout of the imminent world war. She's like, but don't worry about it. And I said, well, I most certainly will.
I'm actually going to worry about it almost exclusively, but thank you.
I'm going to worry about it.
And then also have you... No, I'm not worried.
I'm
not crying in bed for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not.
Don't worry about me.
I'm not quitting my job and moving to Costa Rica about it. No.
Yet.
Anyway.
Have you been hearing at the same time as this, similar sort of timeline stuff? And that's concise and beautiful the way I said that, and no one correct me.
I would never.
Have you been hearing about all of the confirmed aliens that are just us from the future? This has been sweeping my timeline. Sweeping it.
I have not heard of there being a confirmed, like, science behind this, but I have heard a theory that aliens are us from the future, as well as there are no aliens, there are only demons and angels.
And,
So all of that's to say, I have heard this theory about aliens being... So, and also I have to ask you, what do you think the difference between an interdimensional being and an alien is?
Well, and so, I mean, and obviously this is the thesis of our podcast, so, but get ready for me to say nothing.
Great.
To me, interdimensional being is someone who has figured out how to move through time and space. Through dimensions. And it seems, I mean, both seem incredibly realistic to me. One seems closer to me because I believe in quantum physics. Call me crazy.
Yeah, but But people love to say, what is the difference between quantum physics and manifestation? And
I think it's the same.
It's the same.
Which is why I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of my spiritual beliefs do lay in science ultimately. And that's something that 5 years ago, if you told me that, I'd say, okay, freako.
5 years ago, if you told me anything about the way my life would look right now and the things that I would be thinking and saying, I'd be like, that's hilarious.
Brother, amen.
And instead, I am this. So.
Yeah, right now, here it is. Alien, to me, is from a different universe.
Okay.
But to me, universe is different than timeline. Mm-hmm. Universe is different than dimension. But that's not based in science. That based in brain right now. In moment, only now. If I Google, I may find out that's all the same.
Yeah. But also, why would you need to Google something that is true to you in this moment? Because all we ever have is this moment, you know?
Hey, literally, I keep saying the past actually doesn't exist anymore, so...
Well, and quantum physics would agree with that as well, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And...
There's only the future. Well, there's actually only now.
Right.
If I'm being true.
And then I'm wondering about what you think of when people say your perception of reality is your reality, right? And when people say that, I'm like, totally. Like, if I think that you're mad at me and you hate me and I believe that, then that's, like, true to me.
That's how you feel.
And I get that. And then, therefore, I'm seeing your actions differently. However, I'm like, but what if I think I'm a millionaire?
Then I think that if you think that you're a millionaire, and not like... Because you and I are famous for texting each other and being like, okay, in 3 years, this is what our life is going to look like.
We do.
And I think that's manifestation to me more than genuinely thinking I'm a millionaire, which I would like to get to that point. Because I think in my heart and my mind, believing something puts you on that same vibration.
Right.
And you can't reach certain goals without being on certain vibrations.
Yep.
And I sound cool and I am employable. Okay? Everyone wants to hire me. Yeah. I don't have a real life example, really. But I have seen other people's delusions create a reality for them that is not the reality that I'm seeing for them.
Well, and so that's the thing. It's like, where's the line as far as what you believe to be true becomes true for you in your reality, of that being, like, beneficial and of that being harmful? Because to me, so let's say that my goal is to be a millionaire. You know, that's the thing I've chosen. I'm going to be financially wealthy. I am financially wealthy. That can get so easily skewed into, well, then I just spend all my money, right? Because I believe that I have endless money. As opposed to it being like, I have endless money because I'm putting effort into making the money. So I guess, like, when people are like, be delulu, like, be delusional, I'm like, don't, but not quite, you know?
I think that you have to have, I think balance is everything. I think that every action has an equal opposite reaction.
Yeah.
That's quantum physics, baby. And I think that there does need to be a level of groundedness. And I also think that magic is like quantum physics. And I think we haven't, like, talked about it in depth, but the past few episodes we've been talking about, like, spells and magic and wording. And I think that all of that really matters. You have to be specific. And something Jacqueline Novak talks about a lot, and LOL at this context, but she's like, sometimes I want to buy a really expensive moisturizer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I buy the expensive moisturizer and I use like a quarter of the recommended amount
Mm-hmm.
because I want this special moisturizer to last. But not only did I like spend the money on this moisturizer, now it's not going to produce the effects that it's supposed to because I'm not using it. But if I have faith that the moisturizer will change my skin,
Right,
and I use the full amount, then like my skin will change and I will know the power of the moisturizer, and I will continue to buy the moisturizer, and I know that I'll have it because I need it.
And that makes me think that that is a manifestation on the side of capitalism versus on the side of consumer, right? Because if I only put, and I do only put, more or less, jojoba oil, which I did think was called jojoba oil, and I was humiliated to find out I was wrong. If I only put jojoba oil on my face, and I think, well, great, this is the only thing I have to put on my face, and then my skin clears up, as opposed to being like, I need to buy this fancy moisturizer and I'm only using this much, so then my skin gets drier, so then I use more of the fancy moisturizer and then my skin gets softer, and then I think I need the fancy moisturizer. You know, I mean, I do think we could do a whole episode on beauty and skincare, because
Totally.
I approach my face in a way that is so deeply different than I used to. It is so funny the way that playing this really fun, I would say heartfelt game, seemingly innocent, you know, that I love to play, that, by the way, as soon as we hang up, I'm logging on to.
We'll be playing, yeah.
Just really made me be like, huh, okay, and this might sound so crazy, but have I created a sentient universe by playing this game? And is someone just playing this game right now? Which is different than how I have felt playing The Sims. Again, because in The Sims, when I'm not playing, they're not doing anything. Nothing is changing while I'm gone.
That you know of.
Right.
Are they Toy Storying you?
Or is that what it's like when I'm sleeping, when I log onto my game and I play as CJ? Like, is that, you know, like someone controlling that? Sorry, you were saying.
Right. No, well, I was going to say, like, it's recently I've been spiraling so much about, like, my level of autonomy on a day-to-day basis. And I'm like, is someone just playing the game right now? Is someone fast-forwarding me going to work, eating, going to sleep, going to work, eating, going to sleep? And, like, then when I'm sort of, I have a wild hair, hey, everyone, we have to go to the lake right now, my God is sort of taking a nap at their job. I don't know.
Or is that like when they're locked in and loaded, you know? When they're like, oh, like, finally, like, I've earned enough coins to take Lou to the lake.
Get to lake.
You know?
Yeah. I guess it depends on if I think my God is benevolent or not.
Well, and we know okay, so in case it isn't clear, I'm a big gamer, a big life sim gamer. And sometimes a game that I play is RimWorld. And RimWorld is named that not because of anything yucky,
but because everyone gives each other RimWorld.
Say it again. No, you say what you were saying.
It's because everyone gives each other rim jobs as money.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it's not because of that. It's because you have crash landed on a rim planet. It's on the rim of whatever universe exists in that game. So in that game, you're trying to like build up your colony, and the way I play it is I'm trying to build up. See, so that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build up my colony and like make them all happy and fall in love the way I do everything, because that's my number one motivation in life is love. Loving my friends, loving my ex-boyfriend, loving my family, loving myself. These are the things that drive me forward. But I was shocked to find out one day when I was streaming RimWorld on Twitch that this one person in chat was like, my favorite part is doing war crimes. And that also made me be like, oh my God, is this planet just a game to someone else? Because here is this man, presumably, in this chat of this game that I'm playing and being like, boop, 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 I don't really know what I'm doing. Oh, someone's sad. I gotta give them a statue. Like, and meanwhile, someone else is like, I like to starve them and attack and kill. And I'm like, whoa. Because in that
this
game...
also was a chat member who said, I am a humanoid male and I like war crimes.
I actually think that those were two different people.
That's not allowed.
I know.
There can't be multiple people who think that way.
There was a humanoid male in the chat who said that dating was really hard. And then there was this other person who kept being like, you're doing a great job. Try this. I like to do war crimes when I play it. And I was like, wow, what kind of gods are we?
Trying to be the best one I can be, man. That's
dude,
all I can say.
And it did that, and then compounded with my experience playing Tomodachi Life really has made me more and more think that, like, this life that we're living makes a lot of sense, that it would be the game that a higher being is playing.
Yeah.
Because it would make sense, too, that, like, then we would be created in their image. Who is the first person you put on your Tomodachi Island?
Me.
Yeah.
Of course.
So start there, and
and then that can be sort of beautiful, because you know what gay people love to say all the time, and then probably people who aren't gay too.
What?
Probably, but I don't interact with that.
I was gonna say you don't know them.
I don't know who those people are. But gay people, especially in the spring and summer, love to be like, I am a god. They really identify with that, and then sort of, I guess so.
Yeah.
If we're all made in our own God's image, we sort of are all godlike, and that's sort of a cute way to perceive this instead of a scary way. To me.
Yeah, because it is comforting to think of that, like, okay, like, if you're made in your God's image and I'm made in my God's image, these people playing us on their Switch, on their laptops, on their whatever, like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm crazy enough that it's giving me a huge confidence boost in real time.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a comfort to know, like, okay, like, when I die, what am I waking up to? You know? I don't know.
Well, and I do think I believe in reincarnation before I even believed in simulation. I think that I will just keep waking up as a person.
And do you think that, because when I worry about dying, and it is often, I'm like, and then I'm just gone. So why would I worry about it?
Well, that too. Do you think, when you think about dying, do you think about how energy can never disappear and, like, where your energy goes to? Or are you just thinking sort of like as CJ?
I'm thinking like as CJ and in ego and, like, self-awareness and consciousness. Like, I'm like, but I've also been spending a lot of time when I haven't been playing these games, which is another thing I have to get into further about the time spent playing these games versus living in reality. Thinking a lot about the way in which, like, our brains work. And so for me, when I think of, like, what's going on internally, I always think of it as, like, two planes. And this plane up here is going... That was me moving my hand very quickly as the first plane. It was going back and forth very fast. A lot was happening. And then there's the plane underneath where it's sort of going more like up and down, where there's sometimes no consciousness there and then other times deep awareness. Because ultimately what I wonder about when I think about consciousness, when I think about the source of like what's happening internally that I'm expressing to others, is where is that all coming from? When I have a thought and I'm aware of that thought and I think to myself at the same time that this thought is occurring, let's say it's a negative thought, right? Mm-hmm. I think like, I'll say something generic, right? I think I want to die. And then I think underneath that, no, I don't. I don't mm-hmm. want that. Mm-hmm. But so then what part of myself is pushing that thought to the top, to the front? And what is the awareness that I have where I go, I don't want to die. And then there's a version of me that is right in between those two. And that's like who I ultimately think I am, but I wouldn't know how to describe her or find her even, but she's somewhere in there. And I guess that's the part of me that I think would continue on. Should I be reincarnated? Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, I don't know how to connect with that part of myself.
And what's crazy is no one ever will.
And do you think that, like, cops are going to listen to this and be like, we need to lock her up after she just said that? She sounds insane.
I hope that they understand that there are much bigger fish to fry than us sort of having a tangential...
wondering about our consciousness. And frankly, I hope there are no cops listening, if I can be quite honest.
I'm going to have to cancel the podcast if a cop is listening.
If there's a single cop out there listening. Anyway, those are my thoughts on consciousness and curiosities about reincarnation, is wondering, like, what part of myself is it that's moving forward, and how that is the part that the majority of myself can't actively connect with. And therefore, I don't know what I think would happen if I was reincarnated. I think in a certain way, being reincarnated would feel, I put up air quotes, the same as dying and being nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know either, dude. I mean, I think in an early episode, I talked about how an energy healer told me that if you keep being reincarnated, it's because you're like missing major life things that are necessary. Right. And so you just have to keep coming back until you sort of like check everything off of your list. Or if people are especially evil, they have to become good. And they just keep coming back until they're actually good. And then once you do, you sort of, you don't even have to do that. Come on in.
I'm holding this because I want to hear what you're saying, and then I want to remember the question I wanted to ask.
Okay. Basically, once you pass the test of life, you become like a guardian angel and help others become good.
That's beautiful.
And so in that way, I think that like my energy, like if I live this life to the best of my ability, I will have like good pure energy that is then recycled and put into a pure
timeline.
Yeah, and that means timeline.
Thank you.
Now you go.
Okay, so that made me think of too many things. I'm going to forget at least 6 of them. But so this idea that like existence is what I would describe as a soul school, right? So your soul keeps coming back because they have to learn something. And then there was one thing that did make me think of the thesis of this episode about Tomodachi Dream Life, wherein it was, hold on. You said,
we have all the time. I said being bad. I said
you had to learn to be evil, be good. Oh,
guardian
angels. It was before that. It was like right before that. To be evil, to be good. There was something right before that you said that made me be like, oh my god. Got it. Okay, great. I'm back. So I think it's really interesting to take that idea of a soul school wherein we're all reincarnating until we get it quote unquote right, until we get it good, until we live a life full of love. And that includes loving yourself. I think that's probably the hardest part, to graduate from this soul school and move on to whatever we think is next. We'll get there. But I was wondering, as you were saying that, if you think that when you're reincarnated, there's a finite amount of time that exists. So let's say, like, currently my soul is living in the year 2026, born in 1990 something, and I've been on this journey, and my soul is in that time frame on this journey. I get it wrong. Ugh. My soul has to then reincarnate. Do you think that you could reincarnate in the past or in the future, or do you think it's always like future moving? Are you of the belief that like all timelines are happening at once? All time frames, all time periods are all stacked?
Yeah, I do believe that it's stacked style. Is there proof of that? I feel like there's new proof of that, maybe, like, very recently.
Yeah, not that I know of, but I would believe it. Duh.
I feel like I heard something along those lines recently because of, once again, the baguette. And the things that they're discovering through this baguette. Baguette is maybe God. I should make a baguette on Tomodachi. Okay. Losing my mind. And this is sort of where the conspiracies run free.
Exactly.
Is that, and I'm sure I've given this disclaimer. I've definitely given it to all of my friends in real life, but disclaimer to all of our listeners. My algorithm has changed drastically since starting this podcast. Yeah. And I live in a crazy place now. However, and I can't tell how many people are in this crazy place because I've also been seeing a lot of videos of people saying, like, we're getting this influx of, like, conspiracy theory and stuff because the government is testing our bandwidth and, like, testing what we will believe, testing what we will accept without fighting back, blah, 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 blah. So, there's that. But the other big part of my algorithm is comparing Trump's life to historical documents and people that have already died, et cetera, et cetera. And so, like, if for some reason I'm choosing to use Trump as my example, I do feel as if he is being reincarnated chronologically. But also I do feel that there's a dark magic that may be helping him move forward in time rather than just keep trying. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think it may be a case by case basis.
I think that's so true, right? But what this all made me think of was there being a finite amount of realities, as opposed to it really. In a way, it's infinite.
I think infinite.
But in a way, is it stagnant? Because if you think of Trump as being someone who is constantly reflecting others' paths and whatever, and or whatever, living again and again, that made me think of something like, okay, so in The Sims, when you make a new save file, it recommends you only have 80 active Sims at a time. In Tomodachi Life, you can have up to 60 villagers on your island. So that, when we're talking about all this, somehow sat with me in this place of, like, there's only a finite amount of people who you will ever interact with who are sentient, right? Like, so if you're on this, you're part of one of many infinite, but I feel like there are infinite timelines because you can, like, an infinite people to be, but I feel like there must be, like, a set amount of years, let's say. Like, so, like, I don't think that, like, we're reincarnating as dinosaurs. I think that, like, it's, like, been, like, from people to the end of people is sort of, like, where people are coming back.
Yeah.
And so in that, it makes sense to be like, oh, at any given time, there are only 60, 80, 100, let's say, like real people who you're going to interact with. And maybe that number, and this is just me outing myself as like a lonely weirdo with like 4 friends. I go, and maybe even that number is less. And maybe when your circle's small, it's because like, you know, there's only those many sentient people. Me making an excuse for having 4 friends and one cousin who I'm close to.
I only trust people. I only trust people who have 6 or less close friends.
Yeah,
if it gets into the double digits, I'm freaked out.
I did see like a video of someone being like, my birthday party, and it was like a big, and they're like 30 something, and they had like, it looked like 20 girls there, and I was like, you're too old to have 20 girlfriends who you have at your birthday party. You just are.
Well, there are some people who are not like, well, except for, I would say you're more like this than I am, where I'm like, and maybe it's my bandwidth is this big. So
right.
The people in my life have to be people that I know very intimately,
mm-hmm.
and that I'm able to check in with them on like a weekly basis. I only have maybe 3 friends that I don't talk to every day.
Right.
And because also, and maybe this is like ADHD, if I can't, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Totally.
Not even in like a bitchy way, but like,
I don't think you could ever do anything in a bitchy way if you tried.
Well, I just like, out of sight, out of mind sounds really shitty.
But I get it, and it's and you said it right after you said in an ADHD way. So I think that you've really cleared your path forward,
okay,
of goodness and truth.
But there are so many people that I know, and like who consider people friends, that's someone they see maybe once every 3 years,
mm-hmm.
and they will be invited to like big events, and I'm like, though that's not my friend. I know of them. But also maybe that's me being chronically single. And so all of my friends like take up this space that so many people have their like partner take up. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either.
But also, can I say something about infinite timelines?
Please.
And I'm gonna say it in a way that I hope makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, and is exponential a synonym for infinite, or?
Mm-hmm. I think so. You'd say like
it's exponential is the word I want to use.
It's growing exponentially would mean that it's getting bigger and bigger by a larger margin each time it increases. So to me,
because I was gonna,
that means infinite.
Okay, I mean it in the same way is what I'll say. But before you brought up Tomodachi Life and you were only talking about timelines, I was gonna say, okay, but maybe they are still infinite because, like, how do I say this? Like, if someone leaves one timeline and is
mm-hmm.
reincarnated in another timeline that's stacked, like, well, no, maybe I need Tomodachi to explain it. I have, like, at least 3 friends who have Shane and Ilya on their island.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I also have a few friends that have Garfield.
Yep.
Plus, then there's all of my friends who have, like, themselves
mm-hmm.
and our general friend group.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's just, like, so many variations of that I feel like there is an exponential amount of Shanes and Ilyas. And if they keep being reincarnated, or if they keep being made on islands,
right,
that is infinite.
And then the question becomes, in a way, are fictional characters sentient? And are they real, in a way?
And in a way, that does become the question.
Fuck! Oh my god, it's like, it's just so fun to talk about things and wonder. And I love that, like, a cozy little game I play with my 2 dumb hands has brought up all of this big existential crises.
Well, I've been thinking about the same thing, and maybe not in the same way as you. which I think is I need different thoughts in my life.
It's good to have multiple perspectives and be open to
I've been
all.
so sick and tired of my own self. Like, please, dear God, tell me what anyone else but me is thinking.
The other day I said to someone, who the heck was I talking to? Where I was like, once you open yourself up to being wrong, your world gets so much bigger. Like,
it changes your life in such a beautiful way.
I'm just wondering about these things. You know, I'm saying gobbledygook nonsense that could be true. I could also, be totally wrong. And I'm open to either. But to wonder is a gift.
Well, because here's what I will say is what I won't accept and what I do think is wrong. But even still, I have to give the grace if I don't think it is necessarily wrong. Mm-hmm. But like people who think that this is life, then it's overdone.
Right. And in that, can I say something really controversial? And in that, very much to me, when people say there is no God, I go, whoa, what a small world you live in then.
Yeah.
And
boring.
Because I don't have, like, your idea of what quote unquote God is does not have to be from whatever religion traumatized you. You know? It doesn't have to be Christian or Jewish or Hindu or Muslim or whatever other, like, written in stone religion you've practiced or been exposed to. Your relationship with quote unquote God gets to be what you infer from your experience here. But to think that there's nothing, I'm like, that's bananas. To live such like a vibrant, intense existence and think that it was for nothing, for no one. Mm-hmm. I go, how do you do that?
How do you manage that? Yeah, well, because it's even like, sorry, my favorite. Well, also, okay, locking in. One of my favorite things about being alive, is like learning about quantum physics and learning about like fractals and patterns in nature and things like at concerts, the way that humans move is the same as the tides. Like we replicate nature in so many ways, and there's so many. Hey guys, everyone watch this ancient movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? It's gonna change your life. It changed my life when I was like in the 5th grade.
I've never seen it.
I think it's really nice. I think it's really nice. My favorite thing that happens there is that they put 2 snowflakes under microscopes in 2 different rooms, same temperature and everything. They play classical music for one snowflake, and they play like screamo specifically with like negative messaging to the other snowflake. And the snowflake listening to classical music like crystallizes and expands and grows. The other snowflake turns gray, kind of melts.
You know?
So I'm like, guys, come on. And so then when I get on my like crazy brain train about this, and I'm like, what do you guys think? I love hearing everyone's ideas except for the person who's like, I don't know, science. And I'm like, bitch, I know I'm talking about science.
Like, someone who's like,
but give me something.
I don't know. It's probably just like that room was a little bit colder, or like, it could
and
be.
I don't mean, well, also, but like, brother, get real. First of all, get real if that's what you think. Second of all, I guess this podcast has taught me that I'm so afraid of offending people. Which sucks.
That does remind me of.
I were more comfortable with that.
Because let us not forget 2 episodes ago when it was the cryptids episodes, and you kept saying like, I'm sorry, but like, I think a squonk is a bit of a pet. I'm sorry. And I just couldn't get over.
Sorry to the squonk community.
Yeah, I'm like, are you afraid of offending people with pets? Are you afraid of offending squonks? I was like, I just, in that moment, I was like, this is another piece of this person puzzle that makes up Lou.
Yeah. And yeah, I've been thinking about it too. Because brother, who am I trying to avoid conflict with?
You know? That's another episode. But you were saying, I'm so sorry I interrupted you to reflect on.
Well, no, I mean it's part of it. Is that like, because I was gonna say like I hate agnostic people, but I just don't worry. It's only your parents.
It was literally, I left my bedroom door open and I have windows open and so it slammed shut.
Oh, the wind.
Whew, that was scary.
Yeah, but doesn't that scare the bejesus out of you every single time?
Oh, yeah.
It happens to me like 5 times a day and I jump every single time. I just like... Free your mind. Does being agnostic really feel good?
Although I think agnostic makes more sense to me than atheist.
Or no, yeah. I'm sorry, I meant atheist. And
because agnostic is kind of, if my understanding right, is what...
I would say I'm agnostic.
See, and I would always just say, like, I'm spiritual.
Well,
for example...
And that's what I would say now, but when...
Can you hear the blue jays squawking in my yard?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I hope they make it into the recording, because that I have a spiritual connection to. So, bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, agreed. Fingers freaking crossed. What I'm trying to say is... atheist, not agnostic, but I'm like, if you're truly atheist, like, do you not see the beauty in the world?
Yeah. Because I just...
If you're atheist, are you like, another day, another dollar, here I am, because of nothing?
Right. To think anything could be because of nothing. Because here is what I understand living a life wherein you are not ruled by your actions in this plane affecting what comes next for your afterlife. I also understand believing there is no afterlife. Like, you get like one go around and enjoy it. And this is going to sound so stupid because like, or it'll sound really cool, but Lily Reinhart, who I love, she's like number one, my wife. Lily Reinhart said this thing one time where she was reflecting on her spirituality, and she was like, I think that your experience on Earth, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't have it memorized, and I didn't research it before recording today, but she says this really beautiful thing where she was like, I think that a ride on Earth is kind of like, you know, your soul is on this one plane and then something says to you, hey, do you want to go get to experience the highest highs of being in love and of loving another person and the lowest lows of, like, you know, deep heartbreak and loss, and you get to experience all of it every day while on this short journey on this earth. And I was like, now you're even more my wife, Lily Reinhart. Oh my God, you're the hottest woman in the world.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly right. And I think myself, I have a really hard time celebrating that heartbreak. And I always find myself when I'm like really sad being like, how the fuck am I supposed to do this? And why is this happening? And that's even just like, I live a pretty normal, regular life, but like still to feel that hurt. It's so funny the way in those moments of hurt and darkness and sadness, it is so hard to hold on to those delicious moments of deep love and joy. And like, they feel so deeply far away from each other, even though they've happened in a matter of weeks, days, hours, minutes. Even. Yeah. Like,
yeah. I know. Well, yeah. And amen and yes.
And so it is so exciting to exist. And it's amazing, because amazing can also be bad. Mm-hmm. I can be amazed in a bad way.
I can be awestruck by horrors.
And so it's so hard to do the dance of being here, but I like the idea of knowing that part of you did choose to be here. Because often I will say, when I think about, like, you know, people having children and all of this, or now if I think about creating my Sims, my characters in RimWorld, my Tomodachi Dream Life villagers,
that's okay.
I'm like, God, they didn't ask to be here. But I made them. I made them be here, you know? And so I think when I think of, like, that thing that Lily Reinhardt said and the way that it rings true to me, it does make me take comfort in part of me and part of whatever life I would create, or part of whatever life my loved ones have created, has asked to be here.
Yeah.
Is something that I'm going to hold in my heart and take with me, leaving this conversation that started because of a Nintendo Switch video game.
Yeah, well, and I think, and, like, obviously I'm preaching to the choir, especially of our 5 listeners, but I have such a hard time feeling that any part of me chose to be here. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I literally never once asked for this, and here I am being forced into it. However, all of the bad parts, aside from, I mean, okay, it's capitalism that makes me not want to be here. That's, like, literally the only thing. And I think that experiencing heartbreak without being a slave to a random fucking company, I would be able to, like, go and sit in nature about it and heal myself in a different way than just trying to push it to the back of my mind until it magically disappears.
Yeah.
And so in that way, I don't know, no ending. In that way, fuck capitalism. I would be a happy person, presumably without clinical depression, if that didn't exist.
And so do you ever think that the game that your god is playing is, like, sort of like capitalism set on hard? You know what I mean? Like, I have said to you before that, like, sometimes I feel like my existence on this planet is someone playing my little sim, my little Tomodachi villager, my little RimWorld colonist, whatever I may be to this person playing this game. And they were like, okay, so this game is Operation Kill Yourself. And I have my settings set to really hard of, like, making my little guy want to kill themselves. You know, because I love to be like, I love being alive. And I do. You know, I do not want to die, believe you me. But, you know, sometimes it's so funny to be in this world and feel like it is solely made to test you in that way, where, like, you finally say to your player, I give up. I relent. I'm done here. And so it's so funny that, you know, it feels like sometimes I say, you know, that whoever's playing me has the make my guy kill themselves setting set all the way up to hard, but that is the goal. And I think that's so true, that's just capitalism, right? I mean,
amen.
Because I think of all the things I do and don't do on my days off, right? And the things I don't do on my days off are things that, like, need to be done, but I just can't fathom spending my time that way. And the things I do on my days off are the things that, like, fill up my heart. And if I had endless time, and when I have more time off from working, I find time for both, and I ultimately feel most fulfilled wherein I am in a space where I can both do mindless relaxation, i.e. play Tomodachi Life, dream life and take care of my real life and build the things that make my real life more real and more fulfilling. But I think that ultimately capitalism is designed in a way where we cannot have both, and therefore I often find myself reflecting on my time that I spend playing these life simulation games wherein my Sims are crafting, cooking, building businesses, learning new skills, painting, playing guitar, charging their crystals. All of these things while I sit in a room making this fake version of myself do it. But in reality, that's all I have energy to do, is to pretend I'm doing it.
It's the craziest thing, and I agree with everything you just said. It's devastating.
It is. It's like...
It's devastating.
And it makes me wonder about the invention of these games and what the goal of these life simulation games is. Because I do know that there are people who use The Sims specifically to manifest, right? So you make yourself, you make your loved ones, you make it, and then you make that person do these things. And that, and because your intentions are there, like they use it as a manifestation tool. And I think with manifestation for me in particular, I'm always like, okay, but how do I really set my intentions? Like, how do I really set them and activate them and make sure that they are 100% clear, concise, and true? And so when I try to do that in The Sims, I'm like, but instead, I feel the satisfaction from my Sim doing something that then therefore my real life self doesn't have to do.
Yeah.
And so I go, huh.
But I think, but then I'm sort of back to perception is reality. Right. And because the way that Animal Crossing, I'm just sort of I want to plant as many pink flowers as possible, and that's my whole thing. That's all I care about. But with Tomodachi Life, I've sort of just been I'm going to try and set everyone on the path that they would want to be on. I try to give the little gifts that my friends in real life would like, trying to manifest it for them. And maybe I can work so hard on my island on my lunch break that some magic will break through. But I could really talk about this for 5 hours. It's crazy. And I don't want to I don't want to launch into a brand new conversation, and maybe I cut this. But maybe we could do a full episode on stuff like this in the future. In the world of okay, if we're considering this life as our simulation. Yep. I also don't want to move on so fast because everything you said has been so poignant and heartfelt, and
you're so kind to say that.
So sweet. No, it's true. It was a sermon.
It did feel that way. But I felt like I was, it
was really nice.
God had his hand on my shoulder.
Waxing poetic.
And spoke through my vocal cords in that moment.
My God antenna is up, baby. So to make it stupid again.
Please.
Things in our reality are true reality. Like having crystals and charging crystals. To me, that's verifying that we're in a simulation and there's a weird little task we have to do. And something that people do is go dig up energy in the form of colorful rocks.
Right.
And then put them on their windows when the moon is out.
Yeah.
Like, that makes me feel like, yeah, okay, so that's a video game, because
Yeah.
what else could it be?
I know, right?
So I wonder, like, what list of things we each have that make us feel that we're in a simulation for real.
I think for me, like, feeding the birds is a big part of my game simulation.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can hear them coming through right now, because I have to feed the birds. And I feed the birds so I can see the birds and then check them off in my brain of my little collections category quest that my game is playing.
Yeah, I'm in. I would also say, because this was sort of recent when we were both feeling so alone and perpetually single, and you were like, well, that's probably like the thing. Is like, I'm like, we're both such lover boys that it's like evil to have us be single.
Right.
Like, that to me is like someone is being intentionally a
so
bully
mean
toward us from the heavens. But that has now gone from something that I'm like, to being like, okay, confirmed, we're in a simulation because they're testing me. That is like my ultimate test. I've wanted to be in love since as long as I can remember. Like, that has been my one life goal.
Yeah.
Forever and ever and ever. And so what the fuck?
I know.
So what the fuck?
I know.
That's crazy. And that can only be a big joke. And maybe that's when the cops come and get me for saying that.
I know. And I feel you and I agree. And it is just like, but my settings are set that way. You know? It's like...
Yeah.
There are certain things that I feel about myself in a way where, like, it does feel like, God, that has to be just, like, a series of ones and zeros that made that be true. That has to be in my code.
Mm-hmm.
I can't change it. And I can be aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes, too, and now I'm going on a tangent. I'm so sorry. You know when people are like,
please, no, I want
they're like, if you want to manifest, you have to do your shadow work. And, like, your shadow work, from what I understand of it, is, like, ostensibly helping you to practice radical acceptance for the things about yourself that you cannot change, and to, like, look into the why of them and whatever. And I think this is also why, like, I struggle with, like, talk therapy, is I'm like, no. For very many things, you can be like, CJ, why do you feel that way? And I'll be like, XYZ raised to the 10th power. This is why I feel that way. Like, I get it. I understand I feel that way. But I also understand that my feelings are not in charge of me. However, they become overwhelming, and therefore I relent to them. However, again, and this all comes back to, where am I in here, right? So if I'm having feelings, if I'm having thoughts that I'm aware of that I don't agree align with my highest self, what is it that is going to help me push those things out or radically build them into who I am? But also, I don't necessarily want to do that. I don't want to be a jealous person. I don't want to be insecure about the things I'm insecure about.
Yeah.
Do I know what I'm insecure about? And when I'm acting from a place of insecurity and jealousy, do I know that? Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Almost all the time. And I'm saying almost because, again, I'm open to there being times where someone could say to me, you're acting out of, jealousy. And I'd be like, you might be right.
Yeah. Well, in that way, you're one of the most self-aware people I know. The way that you know yourself is huge. And I'm jealous of it, but it is still confusing at the end of the day, which is bananas.
Yeah. Because then it's like,
because also, when do you stop knowing yourself, or like, how much of yourself is there to keep learning? Is that forever? Because that feels like a forever thing to me. But also, you keep changing. So then you have to keep updating what you know about yourself.
And how,
if you're someone who's freaking cool enough to change.
or
Come on,
even
guys.
just be cool enough to be like, this is who I am, and or to go like this. This is who I am. These are the things I'm doing. Here's where they meet in the middle. There's a lot that doesn't overlap. However,
yeah,
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I just think that as a society, people are so in love with being right, and they're in love with themselves,
Yes.
and in a way that isn't truly being in love with themselves. I think I'm truly in love with myself. I think I really, really like who I am. Even when I am sad or feeling insecure about my body or about certain traits of myself, in general, I really like myself. We have fun together. However, just because I like myself doesn't mean that I'm not open to the fact that while I am a person who I like a lot, I am capable of hurting others. And should I do that, I want to know how and why, and then I want to reflect on it and be able to say, I will do differently, or to be able to say, I understand that hurt you. It still rings. My reaction is my truth. Because people like to be like, my feelings are my truth, and that is true to an extent. What you feel is real. However, you have to consider the output and consider the you want to be, and put it all together. You can't just go through life being like, I was angry, so I called you really nasty names. What? I was mad. Okay, but I'm not a person who's going to let you speak to me that way. And you are saying that you want me in your life, but you called me nasty names, and you're saying I have to be okay with that. I'm not, so goodbye. And that doesn't have to mean that you are a bad person, or that you have to see yourself as a bad person. But you have to see yourself as someone who's not on my Tomodachi Dream Life Island anymore.
Dude, amen. Snaps to that. Renaming this podcast episode A List of Reasons CJ is best friend, the light of my life.
Oh, you're so sweet. But I don't know.
No, you just said so much good stuff. And you also, like, sorry this isn't about simulation, but you just said all this stuff that, like, drew me to you, first of all. And also, like, the advice that made me change the way I thought about myself. And so people, listen the hell up, because CJ freaking gets it. And I'm gonna cry on pod.
Don't cry on pod, because if you cry on pod, I'm gonna cry on pod.
No, I'm gonna cry on pod. So.
Okay, does it help that my boyfriend just texted me?
Cry on pod. Yeah, it did help a lot. He knew I shouldn't cry on pod.
Well, I love you so much, and I love
you so much. I'm glad we're in the same simulation.
Dude, now that is something I want to talk about. Because I have famously had the hamster dream. You know about my hamster dream.
I do know about your hamster
Listeners
dream.
at home know about my hamster dream, wherein I had a very, very vivid dream where I woke up into a beautiful world of cartoon hamsters. They were not like Hamtaro. Get that image out of your head. They were...
Stop thinking that.
Stop it! They were much more realistic cartoon versions of hamsters, up on 2 feet, and they, like, woke me up, and I was like, where am I? And they were like, you're in reality. You've been asleep. And I was like, oh, cool. And they were like, so, do you want to wake up and be here with us? And I was like, where are all the people I love from back there? And they were like, they're not here. And I was like, then I'm going back there. Yeah. And then I woke up into this reality wherein I'm recording this podcast with you. So I do think that, hey, If you came to this podcast for advice, my number one piece of advice has always been and always will be, find the people who make you feel like yourself. Find the people who want to make you learn more about yourself. And follow the love and stay with it. And that's what I did. But now I think that I eventually, when the game's over, I'm gonna wake up into this hamster simulation, and I am excited to be there. But I can't go there without the people I've loved from this simulation.
Well, I was gonna say maybe the people that you love just aren't hamster world
yet. Exactly. I was like, I'm.
And isn't it?
I was gonna say, if I'm player 1, I'm waiting for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get there. Okay.
Yeah. And isn't it beautiful that you chose to go back into the simulation with all of the heartbreak and capitalism because the people that you love are there?
Yes. 100%.
I think that's special, even though it's grotesque.
Exactly. And I think, if you think about the people that you put on your Tomodachi Island, those are the people who you really love. Like, the people on your island are the people who you want around. And that you want good things for.
Yeah, because you want them around twice.
Right. I love to text you and girl not annoying and be like, this is what you're doing on the island, you know? Double.
Well, yeah, and, I mean, like, I'm ha-ha hee-heeing, but I'm also genuinely like, thank you so much for building me this beautiful
right.
life. I'm so grateful for you making these things happen.
Which is another thing that the game makes me think of is, like, I'm like, ooh, be careful what you're gaming, you guys. Like, when I made you, I made Girl Not Annoying, I made my cousin and her husband and their children, and, like, I'm like, I gotta take good care of those people.
Amen.
Because they exist in my, in real, and my ex-boyfriend, duh. He's there, too.
Well, he was the second one.
He was. I mean,
if I'm third, obviously he was the second.
I said there will be me, there will be my ex-boyfriend, and there will be Lou. And then the rest will come. But, like, you know, and then I make you guys and I go, I have to take really good care of them. I would never be able to even, like, dress your Tomodachi Life guy in an outfit I don't think that you would like.
And that's why I trust you with my life.
So I can't tell if the games are making my life more full and happy and honest and true, or if they're making me absolutely brain dead, melted, bananas inside.
Only time will tell, but we have to stop recording so that we can go play Tomodachi.
Exactly. Life. I really gotta check in on what you and your big wife are doing. I gotta see what Jacob Wysocki and Girl Not Annoying are up to. They just moved in together. I don't know.
Whoa.
Gotta see.
That's huge. I have to go make Mulder and Scully.
And thank you for doing that.
Of course. And one day we have to figure out how to merge islands or something, or visit each other's islands even though we're not allowed to because we have cuss words.
Yeah.
Because my island is called Titty Island.
See, and I called my island Clown Town because I'm pure of heart and a virgin, so.
Well, and I called mine Titty Island because I'm pure of heart and a virgin. Duh.
I'm so sorry.
Get so for
sorry
real.
for accusing you. Well, God, I've loved talking about these games and the thoughts that they bring up. I hope that people enjoyed listening.
Yeah. This is my favorite episode we've recorded, so.
This one is definitely the most.
I just love to listen to you.
This is the most reflective of, like, what it's like when I call you after work on the car ride home.
Yeah.
This one is the warmest.
Yeah. So you're freaking welcome, guys.
Yeah, I hope everyone feels
I
our
can't
warmth.
figure out the Patreon. Otherwise, I'd say pay us for this.
Dude,
pay us
I
for
know,
our warmth, but I can't figure out the Patreon. They won't email me.
If you guys want to pay us, we'll write it in a comment, and we'll find a way for you to give us money. Because we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll DM you ourselves. Yeah, hey, any money you want to give us, you're more than welcome to send it our way.
Thank you so much. If you sort of want to sponsor us, thank you so much. If you also want to buy our silence, fine.
That'll work too, but it costs more.
way more. Yeah. Because we've got a lot of love to share, and we're happy to be able to share it with you.
Wow. To choose between playing Tomodachi Life and editing this episode is going to be a hard choice.
And I believe in you to make the right choice.
I'm going to do both.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. And on that note, again,
we're going to have something to say.
I think I like we've got a lot of love and we're glad to share it with you. If I'm being true.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you say it.
We do have a lot of love. We'll say it again.
And ready?
I don't want to say it wrong.
We've got a lot of love, and we're glad to share it with you.
We got a lot of love, and we're glad to share it with you.
Bye.
Amen and amen.
Amen.
Bye.